In today's video, I'm going to show you how to build an exterior wall. And if you're new to this channel, my name's Josh. This channel is all about building your own house and saving a ton of money. So be sure to subscribe, hit the bell for notification, and like this video. And if you haven't ever built a wall before in general, you're going to learn a lot today. Let's get this done. The first thing you're going to need to know is where you're going to build the wall. So that's what your house plans are for. And I drew up my own house plans, but you can buy those online almost anywhere. So here's where the wall's going for this exterior wall I'm going to build. And all of the jacks and studs are over here. So we're going to have to carry some over. I may load them up in my truck and just drive around the side. I don't know yet. But first thing, just get all your material here ready to go. So what I got behind me are 16-foot 2x4s. That's what you're going to be using for plates to build your wall. Hack of pre-cuts, we're going to have to carry at least 20 over to this side to build the wall. So I'm going to unband it and start carrying it over. When you get these 16-footers for your plates, you want to eyeball down them and look for straightness. See how straight that is? That's what you want to use for plates. If you get one that's all twisted, it's going to throw the wall off. It's going to be a pain to keep it straight, especially if it's on the top of the wall like this. There's not too many ways to get that pulled out straight, because there's no way of anchoring it until your trusses are up. So go ahead and make sure you get some straight 16-footers for your plates. So typically in a situation like this, I'd run the wall as far as I could to 16-foot plate, but right here we're hitting the concrete. So on concrete, the plate hitting the bottom here has to be pressure treated. So I'm going to cut this off here and just build this wall first. Before you start framing your house in general, you need to get one of these. It's called a speed square. And this thing just fits right in your pouch like that. And whenever you got to mark lines or get pitches on different angles on rafters and things, it's right there in your pocket ready to go. So I'll put a link in the description. To mark 16 on center. Every red mark on the tape is a 16 on center mark. But anyways, that's where a stud's going to break. So I'm going to cut the plates right there so the wall coming over here can splice in here with no problem. Like I said, I'm building this wall in sections mainly because you got to transition to pressure treated plate on this side. So FYI, typically when you build your wall, you'll want to pull 4 inches off the side of the band board, make a mark, then pull 4 inches off the end of the wall, make a mark, then put your chalk line down here and chalk a line that's going to keep your wall straight when it transitions together and straight in general. But I had to hold off because, as you can see, the subfloor is wet, and if you chalk a line on that, it's going to be all pasty and get your chalk all wet. So I'm going to get this wall laid out, then hopefully it's dried off better by then. The next thing you do is just hook your tape to the end of the wall and just run it out the whole length of it. And then every red mark you see, which is going to be 16 on center if you're building 16 on center, which most residential houses are, you find your mark and then go back 3/4 of an inch. Make a mark and then put an X on this side because that's where your stud's going to lay, and that's going to be the edge of your stud. Go down the whole wall and do that. So when you go to your next mark here, you'll come over, then X, and just keep that pattern down the whole thing. You do that first. So after you made your mark, go ahead and take your speed square, or you can use a regular framing square, lay it on either one of the plates there, line it up with the mark, and then take your pencil and make a line. And then you'll have your layout on both sides, and then put an X on the side you didn't make the X on initially. And then do that down the whole plate. And just so you know, whether there's windows or doors in this wall, it doesn't matter yet. That's what we're getting ready to address now. Just want to make sure you get your 16 on center layout first. And now what you need to do, look at your house plans and see where your windows or doors are going, and then lay those out next. Let me show you how. So according to the plans, as I just showed you there, if you look at this wall, we know the window's going dead center of this wall. To know where dead center is, we need to know where the wall is going to hit here and where the wall is coming in and hitting here. So once we figure that out, then we know we just got to find the center and then make a mark. So let's address that. So what I did is butt my plate up against the wall where it's going to be setting, and I know there's a wall going to intersect here, so I made a mark and wrote wall on the plate so I know what that mark was for. And then I came down here. I know my wall that's going to be intersecting here is 12 foot 1 inch. So I went ahead and made a mark where the edge is going to be setting, and then went 3.5, because that wall is going to be built here is 3.5 inches. So that's going to be my mark here for the start of this side of the wall. So that way, between this mark, if you go down here, and between this mark, that's how we're going to find the center where this window is going to be perfectly center of this room. It looks like we got about 167.5 inches there. So we know the half of 167.5 is 83 3/4. So we go down to 83 3/4, and we're going to put a mark here, and I'm going to put center mark, so I know that's going to be the center of something, which we all know it's a window because I already told you. So that's going to give me my center, and then I gotta mark the header sides from there. So if you've been following my channel, you know I pre-build my headers and jacks before I build the walls. So that's what I got here is a 75 1/4 inch header. That's going to be for the window in the center of that wall that I was telling you about. So if you looked at the plans, that's what's going there. So you can refer to that if you're curious why I picked 75 1/4. And watch that header video if you want. It's very educational if you haven't built a header. So be sure to comment below if you have never built a header. So we know this header is 75 1/4, and the center of 75 1/4 is 37 5/8. So I put this, oh, sorry, hold on. That's where you make mistakes. I had it on a stud mark. Put it on your center of the window, right like that. And now you just mark the edge of your tape. It's going to be the edge of the header here. And then you come over here to your 75 1/4 and make a little mark. And you put a little X for header so you don't get confused. And then you go ahead and continue your layout. All right, so that's the mark for the edge of the header. So we know if this is the edge of the header, we have a trimmer 1.5 inches back. So we'll go ahead and make a little mark here. And then we know we got the king stud that's on the side of the jack. That's another 1.5 inches that way. So that's going to give us where your jack placement is going to be. So go ahead and put some straight lines here, and you can just write jack, so you know what's going there. So it will look a little something like this. Just a refresher, that's your header here, the trimmer that's holding the header, and then the king stud that's holding the jack and the header all in one. We got the layout on the plate for where the window goes. This is the bottom plate. We're going to put the other plate up against it and then lay the layout on this. Then we're going to separate them and then lay the studs out where they go. All right, and for that window, we're going to need a couple of those jacks that we built the other day. So go ahead and grab 2 of those. Ooh, where is that? Oh, I gotta get used to this camera thing. There it is. So you want to throw 2 up there with your header. And what I do first is I'll shoot the jacks onto the header and pre-build that opening before I build the rest of the wall. All right, so just like studs, you want to put the crown up on these. So you want all your crowns in the same direction when you build a wall. So preferably towards the exterior of the house. So you'll go ahead and do that. So just lay those jacks roughly where they go. Slide your header down in it and shoot it together. I have it set right where it goes. Go ahead and tack some nails in it. Put a liberal amount of nails in these, because these king studs actually help hold some weight too. So your trimmer's holding most of the weight, but this holds a good bit too. So do that to the other side, and then we'll have to make a plate for your bottom of your windowsill there. Okay, now come down here and put the bottom of the jack where you have your layout on your wall here. So go ahead and flip that plate up and then shoot it together. Here, and flip your top plate up where it goes. If you look here, here's our layout. So we know the edge of that line is where the edge of that king stud is going. So we line it up and we're going to shoot that together. Then we're going to do it the other side, and then that's helpful because now our wall is temporarily held together before all the other studs are on. All right, so in order to get the measurement of the board goes between here, you want to make sure it's the same as your rough opening. So what I'm saying is, this is for a 6 foot wide window, a 6 foot wide rough opening, and always allow a 1/4 inch for a little bit of room there. So if you measure it looks like, yeah, so we're right there at 6 1/4 inch. So we'll want to cut one 6 1/4 inch. And then we'll want to measure down to see where it goes. Then that's going to give us our cripple lengths. If you measure down 5 1/4 inch, which is your rough opening for your window height, then 1.5 inches down from that is your plate for your windowsill. And then the measurement between that line and your bottom plate here is going to be the height of your cripple. Looks like we got 19 5/8 will work. So every one of those marks here for your layout that you did 16 on center, you're going to need a 19 5/8 board, and you're going to need additional one on each side of the jack. Also, while you're at it, you might as well measure these to fill in above the cripples above the header here. So we got about 1 foot. We'll do 11 7/8. So we'll do 11 7/8 for all these across here, and we need 6 of those and 6 of the 19 5/8. Got all my blocks cut for the cripples, and here's the windowsill here. So what you need to do now, just to get the layout pretty easy, just lay it down where the layout is on the plate and go through and just copy the layout. So your 16 on center continues throughout the wall, and do that, and then we'll put it where it goes. All right, so I shot the 19 5/8 block on each side of the trimmer there. And now you take your sill plate with the layout on it, or a windowsill, and then lay it in place, and then shoot some nails to hold it to each side. And then after that, fill in with the cripples on the layout. All right, if you look down here at this opening, you see I got all the cripples in. Now it's time to get your jack or your studs and do the rest of the wall. All right, I just have these studs roughly laying where they go, and now go through on one side and put them on the layout. So if you look over here, get it on your layout that you made. Go ahead and tack one on the bottom. Now tack one on the other side of the stud. And then tack one in the middle. Just like that. And all those are nailed to the top plate. Now we need to come down here and nail this end. Now the reason why you nail all these is for efficiency first, and then come back through and do these. Come to one that's not lining up on the line really well. First thing you do is line up whatever side hits the line first. So we'll just hit that top one first. You can see it's off because it's twisted, so I already tacked the top of the stud on the plate. So all you gotta do is get a pipe wrench, put it on there and push down. And as you can see, twist it right in place, and then just tack the bottom side of the stud. When I say top and bottom, look at the back here. The nails in the top part, then we're gonna nail bottom in the center. So right here is where that wall intersects at the edge of this wall. So we're gonna go ahead and put the nailer in for drywall, and we'll just anchor the wall once we build it on this side, and it'll anchor to this stud. So for a place like this where a wall is going to button to another wall from the inside, I like to build a partition corner. So to do that, you just take 2 studs and then take 3 scrap blocks. They don't have to be any particular length. Just lay them out like this. One at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. Line them all up flush, sandwich it together, and then shoot it together. And then you'll see what it looks like when it's done. All right, so that's what it looks like when it's installed. So imagine when you stand it up, those blocks are gonna be facing the inside. So you have a place to nail your wall to that intersects right there. And it makes a drywall nailer on each side of the wall. Finally dried off enough to get that chalk line done. And now you might be wondering why it's 4 inches. It's because you got a 3-inch plate or wall. Then you got a 1/2 inch sheeting on the outside. So that's going to put us flush with the band board here. And if you're doing 2x6 walls, you're going to want to make your mark 6 inches. The thing we got to do is sheet the wall. And in order to sheet the wall, we got to walk down here, grab our sheeting off the pile of sheeting we have over here, carry it over here, and put it on. And just so you know, these are not 8-foot walls, they're 9-foot walls. So the sheeting we got is going to be 9 foot tall. So it's a little different than what I usually do, but figured try something new. All right, so when you start your sheeting, you want to start on the side your layout started on. So if you pulled your tape this way to start your layout, you want to start your sheeting over there. So that way it breaks out evenly. So it's just roughly sitting here right now, but you're gonna want to line your corner up over here first. And then tack that into place. And then pull this edge down. All right, I tacked that corner down. So now nail this bottom off first. Now go up to the top here and shove the edge over to the top of the wall, because this sheeting actually squares your wall up. That's why it's important to get it perfectly on the edge here. So tack a nail there. All right, so what the sheeting does, not only does it give you a tough exterior, but it's used to square your wall up. So now all we do, since we got it on square, just go ahead and shoot it off. In order to shoot this stuff off properly, you nail 6 inches apart around the perimeter of the sheet, and then in the fields every 8 inches apart. And then you can see you got lines already pre-marked on this stuff, so you hit your studs or use as a reference line when nailing it off. So he's a part-timer, shows up when the wall's built. Yeah, I was thinking I'll go ahead and put this last sheet on. That way, when the other wall intersects, it'll give me something to butt to and nail to. So we're going to get and slap that on now, since I got help to lift the wall. This house wrap, I went ahead and went down a foot, chalked a line. That's going to be the top of the house wrap. And the reason why I do that is because you want it to overhang and go over this band board down here to see all these cracks down to the sill plate. So just, if you're doing 9-foot walls, do that. If it's 8-foot walls, just go to the top of the plywood. We put that house wrap, all you do is roll it out. Like I said, you leave 11.5, 12 inches to overhang to cover that band board. And this, we allow a little extra to go over, so that way when we stand the next wall up with its house wrap on, we'll just unfold that over on it. So that's why you leave a little extra there. What we're doing now is Gerald's holding this kick plate on here. And all these are for when we push this wall against the edge, keeps it flush with the edge, and it doesn't let the wall kick over and fall down this big muddy hole. Alright, 1, 2. Heavier than it looks. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, I got it in that switch box back there. We got lifted up, got some braces on it. We went ahead and took our level and put those braces on. You just get them, you know, as pretty plumb as you can there. So looks pretty good. And you're going to adjust these more as you go. And now you just, that chalk line we put earlier, you just get your bottom plate chalk, set on the chalk line, just nail it between each space there, and then hook it onto this existing wall. Then that's all there is to setting the wall. All right, there it is. How do you like it? Let me know in the comments below. But it stood, it's level, it's plumb, it's looking awesome. We're connected up there where it met the garage that we built in the other video. Looks fantastic. And then obviously you gotta go through and double plate that yet. So what you do is just get another 2x4, run across everything and lace them together. But that's all I got for you today's video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below if there's any improvements I could make, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. Oh, I said the video was over, but I just wanted to show you there. Got the other wall put up, and that's what we got. I figured why not. And you can see we got our pressure treated plate on this one. We got our little bolts tightened down really tight, and it actually went together really well.